the working class, the German working class, really willingly affiliated itself with the Nazi Party after 33. 1933, they had to run away. They came to America. John Dewey welcomed them in Columbia University. They formed a department. Very quickly, they spread to LA, later to England. They formed the Tavistock Institute. And from this moment in your history, a process of radicalization that is largely communist, some even say funded by the Fourth International, start to take place in this country. The main thinkers within this school are Adorno, if you heard about him, the master of the scholar of cultural industry.
Possibly
the person.
Behind the Beatles.
Sorry?
Possibly behind the Beatles somehow.
Yes, Horkheimer definitely was behind the Bills. And you remember that I said that they were anti-Semitic in Germany in the early days. When they came to America, they realized that in America things work differently. And when Adorno wrote is one of most important texts, The Authoritarian Personality, it was actually funded by the Jewish American Committee. So they were not very anti-Semitic anymore. You know, people change, which is understandable. The peak of this movement was in 1968. Herbert Marcuse, who came with them in 1933. Do you remember the 1968 revolution, student revolution? It was there to dismantle your universities, to make your universities not a hub of scholarship and understanding, of being and rootedness. The uprooted scholarship, metaphysics, philosophy from your universities and made them into pragmatic institutes. $57,000 a year, we will teach you calligraphy or art history. Identity politics. They said, no revolution. Let's have small revolutions. The personal is political. Now, what happened to your left? Your left, the dissent, the labor movement, working class politics was hijacked. It was dead way before it realized that it was dying. Why? The Jewish intellectuals don't like the host nation. They don't like nationalism. They don't like patriotism. And we know why. Because they have been persecuted by those concepts, by the host nation, by nationalism, but by patriotism. They want to turn society into a collective of synagogues, of godless synagogues. The synagogue of the black, the synagogue of the women, the synagogue of the lesbian separatists, the synagogue. But the left also has a problem with working class. For some reason, working class is always patriotic, nationalist. They don't like it. Now, it's very obvious why working class is patriotic, whether we like it or not. For a person in a working class, for a working class person, it's a lot of fun to identify with the flag. And in Texas, you have fucking big flags. I've never seen such flags. In working class, for working class people, it's a lot of fun to identify with landing on the moon. You suddenly take part, belong to a very successful narrative. For working class people, it is a lot of fun to identify with atomic bomb that wins a war. You become suddenly part of a scientific, technological, military achievement. Not that I accept it also, but this is how it works. So the left has in it a certain level of indignation towards working class. What we see here is a bond between this Jewish attempt to break the working class, to break the nation, that is supported by a similar tendency by the left. And this is where we are now. This is where we are now. You cannot get a single thing together. It's not America. It's America, Britain. I don't want to talk about France because in France something interesting is happening now. You don't have dissent. You cannot unite. You are consumed by an endless sectarian conflicts. The gays and the Muslims, the Hispanics and the black, and it's a nightmare. And all that time, big money is having a party. And all that time, corporate culture is sinking in. I don't think it's now, it can't sink anymore. That's it, we are there. I'm not American, although my accent is very American. I'm not American, but if I would tell my dad in 72 that in 2014 or 2008, you can get fired from a job and you have to leave your desk within 20 minutes, he wouldn't believe me. But it happens here. In The Guardian, the paper of the left, you work 6 months or 1 year on, how do you call it, without getting paid. It's like experience. Internship? Yeah, internship or whatever you call it. Can you believe it? Yeah. It is unbelievable. But in France now, something astonishing is happening. Have you heard about Dieudonné? Anyone here? No. Dieudonné is a French comedian. He's probably my age, around 50, I think. 45 maybe. I don't look 50, but he no. Dieudonné is black, And 10 years ago, he came to realize that he actually doesn't really care that much about the Holocaust. He said, I'm black. After 400 years of slavery and endless discrimination, I have my own Holocaust. I want to deal with my own Holocaust. Immediately, from being a hero of the left, he was reduced into an anti-Semite, Nazi sympathizer, and a racist, black artist, racist. For telling the personal is political. Apparently, the personal stopped being political when you're black. But he didn't give up. He started to take a lot of flack. And he said, and you know what? I also don't like your Jewish state. I find it racist. It didn't make him very popular in the Jewish quarters. 4 months ago, the French socialist government decided to finish him off. He is a very popular comedian. He's the most popular comedian in France. He had a tour of 20 concerts, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people every night. It's slightly more successful than me tonight. Because I'm here to tell you about if I do jokes, you saw the Faustin, it was a cracker. Anyway, they cancelled his tour. And guess what? The French people say no. He would put a video, a clip on YouTube, and it would have 3 million hits within hours. In the 1st of February, it's like 3 weeks ago, he had 120,000 French in Paris, in the street. They were black, they were Muslims, North African, and there were many of them were white, lower working class. They were in the streets. They shouted, "Crif out!" Crif is the French APAC, the French Jewish lobby. "Crif out! Faurisson is right." Faurisson is the leading Holocaust revisionist in France and maybe in the world. He managed quite easily to unify the French margins because he identified once again the enemy. And the enemy was the socialist government that abuses the worker and the lower classes, whether they are black, whether they are white, green, purple, and the Jewish lobby that funds this operation. Interestingly enough, he wasn't from academia, he wasn't a politician, he doesn't write for a paper, he's a fucking comedian. Why? Because our last barrier, our last frontier is satire. They have destroyed academia. When is the last time you heard an inspiring academic? All they left for us is the banal mind of Noam Chomsky and Judith Butler. You really have to take some serious stuff to keep yourself awake when listening to these people. Because they are not intellectuals. Do you understand what intellectual is?